Welcome to Soul Sister Shares, a sacred place for the ones who are ready to lead and live from the heart.
We are your hosts, Rachel and Tina, two soul sisters, heal your life coaches, embodiment guides, and beings walking the path right alongside you.
We laugh, we cry, we unravel, we remember, and we invite you into every moment of it.
Welcome home. Welcome back, everyone. Tina and I are so excited that you're here with us today. We have a beautiful conversation today, really diving into judgment, because this is something that, well, Tina's been seeing in her world, and she'll talk about that today. And it's something that I think everybody experiences all the time within ourselves. We're also going to be diving into compassion, which is just derived from self-love, but we're really going to unpack that for you today. And so let's just get a little grounded this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whenever you are. It's morning here today. And just take a nice deep breath in and just land in your body, allowing yourself to slow your breath, bringing your awareness from all of the thinking thoughts into your heart center, right in the center of your chest. And if you have your eyes open, I want you to look around and just notice what you see. And if they're closed, just notice how you feel. And now bring your awareness to the seat of your chair. Notice your feet on the ground. And just notice the feeling in your heart as you're breathing. Just welcoming this beautiful day, this beautiful now, this presence that is within you. And opening your eyes, taking a nice deep breath, and just fully being here with us today. And so I'm very excited to be diving into this conversation. Tina and I talk about this often, and it's a topic that is, I'm going to say it's loaded. There's so many avenues to it. And I'm actually going to turn the mic to you, Tina, for you to start us off on this topic, because I know there's some archetypes that you might talk about. There's some inner critics that we're going to dive into. And yeah, I'm just going to let you start this beautiful conversation today.
Thank you, Rachel. That was such a nice way to ground in this morning. So, judgment versus compassion, inner critic versus, cheerleader. And so we all have this inner critic, this judgment voice that can show up day to day. And sometimes it can totally derail us and make us feel like we're not enough, like we don't belong. And it's so loud. And so I see this. This is my story. This is my story of judgment from others that I took on. I took on growing up, of a judgment of my physical body. And I think, I want to name this because this is so, so loud in our world, especially as women. And we even see this in men, that we constantly judge the physical body. And we judge it based on a belief, which is just a thought, based on a society collective, that a thin body is better than a bigger body. According to who? Right? And so I grew up being judged that my fuller body and my muscular body, because I started lifting weights when I was 15,
Wow.
was too big for a girl. That's
Mm.
kind of what I was. And then every time I would see certain family members, there was always a judgment, a comment, a criticism. I was bigger, I was smaller, right? And so why we need to say this. And we say it not intentionally, but we
Hmm.
notice when people's body shifts and we celebrate when people lose weight or shrink themselves.
Mm.
And I'm here to say it's a judgment. We're comparing and it creates, right? It's an external validation for someone that you're even celebrating that, but it's not appropriate, right? And again, we're saying that a bigger body doesn't belong.
Mm.
And so then, rather than having compassion for who we are, um, and maybe doing the, moving our bodies, eating right, we're just spiraling and we keep judging ourselves and it's not enough. And we try to do more and more outside of us to make ourselves acceptable when we already are
Mm.
acceptable and worthy in the body that we've been given. And so this is really, really hits home. I think you could probably hear how passionate I am of it
Hmm.
because of my story, but because of my work, right? I see this every day and I hear it. Like, people calling themselves, and there's nothing wrong with the word fat, but they're seeing it in a negative tone, right?
Hmm.
Or I've put on weight. And I think this just, how do we move from this critic? And we'll talk
Hmm.
about the different critics to compassion. And the reason why you might be saying, well, then nothing's ever going to change. And that's, if we go back to the Heal Your Life Louise's work, you've been criticizing for yourself for years, and it's gotten you nowhere. Try accepting and loving and compassion for yourself and watch everything change.
Mm.
And so I just think compassion, acceptance, compassion is the antidote to transformation, to change,
I
right?
agree with you there. Hmm.
Yeah. And so, we're using this as an example. And I think, Rachel, like, you're a woman, you're going through perimenopause. I'm
Hmm.
postmenopausal. Let's have this conversation of the judgments that are coming up with the body naturally changing and what that voice sounds like for you, and then I can talk
It's
about the voices.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because I grew up as a small, thin girl who grew into a small, thin woman. And, but my body was never perfect. It was never, I remember having a hard time getting dressed because, oh, I can't show my stomach, or, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that. And looking back at my body now, and I was like, girl, girl. But it's so interesting for me because in the last couple of years, like you were just saying, I've been going through perimenopause. And in the last 2 years, I would say I started putting on some some weight that I'm not used to. And it's been a lot of struggle, a lot of frustration. But this year I have to say that I came to a point because the clothes that I own, the clothes that I have, doesn't fit anymore. And it's the first time, it's the first time in my life that I have to consciously go up a size, which has never happened to me before. And that comes with all its own beliefs and thoughts and criticism. But it was hard. It was really, really hard. And there were moments of tears and there were moments of I could feel it come up in my throat. I'm getting choked
Mm,
up just thinking about it because it really hit home for me. And there were moments that all I wanted to do was wear big baggy pants and a baggy t-shirt because that's all that would fit. And a few weeks ago, I said no more. I love fashion. I love clothes. I love looking good. And I was like, no more. We're going shopping. And so I took myself to the store, and I grabbed everything a size bigger. And I went into the change room. I must have had like 25 items, if not more. And I went into the change room and I started trying on clothes. And I had a moment in the change room where I looked up and I was standing there in my bra and underwear. And I looked up and I saw myself in the mirror and I went, wow, Rach, you are beautiful
Mm,
exactly as you are. You are truth. You are authentic. This body that you're seeing in the mirror is authentic. It is you. This is the version of you that you are in this moment. And I found a moment of full compassion and acceptance for myself, which was so beautiful. I shared it with you when that week when I got home, but it was so beautiful. And I was able to leave there with clothes that actually fit. And I'm excited to wear because it looks good. And it's interesting because I was wearing a pair of pants when I went into one of the clinics that I work out of. And one of the girls was like, Rach, those pants fit you right in all the right ways. And I was like, yes, yes, they do. And it was just so freeing to be able to say, it's not the size of the clothes, it's how I feel in the clothes. It's how
mm,
I see myself. And like you were saying earlier, it all comes back to this belief, this perspective, right? Because I say this word and I remember myself as a young adult and, we were going out to the restaurant and I wanted to wear a tube top, but I didn't like the way that my arms or my chest looked in the tube top. But this is just how my body's made. It doesn't matter how
mhm.
small or how big, it's always going to be the same. But back then it was such a big thing. And so it's just a perspective of where we are in those moments. And so I'm really happy that we're bringing up these conversations because I've been very raw with my community and talking about this struggle of mine with the weight gain and all of that. And it's incredible the amount of people that have come back and say, "Oh, I know what you're talking about. I know exactly how you feel. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah." And it's just if we talk more about it, this is how we're going to find the acceptance piece. This is how we're going to find the compassion and realize that we're not alone. Each and every one, every woman is dealing with this because of what we are taught that
Mm.
perfect, that a body should look like, that, like, yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
very excited that we're having this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Hmm.
want to share my story. And this is a shout out to my niece Dahlia when she
Mm.
got married 2 years ago. And again, judging the size, right? And judging, we're so attached to numbers, right?
Hmm.
Whether it's a salary or, your car and a size and a weight, right? So we're judging all this as good or bad versus neutral. And I went to try on a dress for her wedding. And I took my regular size 12 and I went into the change room and my husband was outside. I'm like, okay, zip up the back. And I could feel his energy. And he paused. He goes, Tina, I can't zip it up. I was like, oh, no, no, try. And he's like, no, no, I can't do it up. Like, you need a bigger size. I was like, oh, okay. And so he went over and he got the next size 14 and put it back on. And okay, gee, do it up. And he couldn't do it up because Tina, this one doesn't fit either.
Mm.
And in that moment, right, the whole judgment, the inner critic, the bully, I
Hmm.
call it the bully, came in and was like, you're not enough.
Mm.
This body isn't enough. You don't even fit in the dress that you want to wear. It was like this bright green off the shoulder, little slit. Like I just felt so alive. And it was like my color, right? Green, the heart chakra, emerald, right? Green, like my birthstone for May.
Mhm.
And in that moment, I could have spiraled and walked out, but I gave myself self-compassion.
Mm.
And so the tears came.
Mm.
And so right away, hand to my heart, I had to physically hold myself and get myself out of that fight flight that my body was going into. And then I started rocking myself. And then I just kept looking at myself in my eyes, up and down, and going, you're enough. And this size
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You are this vibrant soul and this body, that this soul is living in this body. And you want this dress because it represents your soul, who's the other half of who we are. That's another
Mm.
conversation. And so I, I, I shared my self compassion with myself. And then I reopened the door and said, can you ask the lady if they have even a bigger size? And I felt so alive in that size 16, so alive. And that's what I had to keep coming back to, not the size, not the little bump and lump in the belly,
Yeah.
but that what I felt like, what I chose, not the number, right? Not what I saw, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our eyes are the last to know. And so that's just another way of compassion, of going, wait a sec. When we do reconnect with the other half of who we are, the soul, the spirit,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so that was a really like that stands out. And that's a now moment. And that was me, right? Going through the menopause, post menopause, and really not letting that bully take over in that moment because I would have still had to get a dress. Would I have gotten a black dress? Which, right, as I say black, and there's nothing wrong with black, by the way, out there. Rachel's pointing to herself, everyone.
I'm wearing a black dress right now.
Well, it's okay. I'm wearing a black shirt right now and dark blue pants. But it's not that. It's hiding. Are we hiding? Are we
Yeah.
shrinking? Are we covering ourselves up versus being fully alive and connected to the other half of who we are, which is this soul? So, anyhow, that really spoke to me,
Mm.
and how I got out of it in a change room in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of a store,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
so then we have these other two critics as well, right? And they might, you know, I give them labels. So sometimes I don't like using labels and identifying, but then I can be like, oh, there's the bully. Okay, wait a sec. Right. So we also have, I call it the big B, and I won't say it online. Right. Um, but the big B, right? She basically allows you to feel like you don't belong, like you're lonely, right? And that's a big deal because a lot of us feel these things of not belonging and loneliness, right? And then we have the boss, right? Um, and the boss can kind of like a little like sarcastic, like,
Mm.
well, considering you're an older woman, you know, you look okay in that. Why don't you try this? Like, so it's really interesting how these, I call them the three B's, the big B, the boss, the bully, how they can come forward, right? And really sideswipe us. And it's total judgment of self. And I think the biggest thing of moving, right, from judgment to compassion, right? And is when we stop judging ourselves, we will stop judging the world,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is another conversation maybe on its own.
Yeah.
And we will also attract less judgment. So the judgment that we're putting on ourselves will we will be judged, meaning you might not even see it as a judgment, but people will comment on you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because everything is a mirror, it's a reflection.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so when we want to see less judgment in the world and separation, it comes back here to stop judging here and compassion. And then I can also bring that out. So this is twofold
Mm-hmm.
why this is so important to quiet
Yeah.
this. It's not that it's not going to come up, but how do we quiet it? How do
Yeah.
we course correct?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's so powerful. I love that you shared the three B's because I think you can really sit back and reflect on where do these show up for me, um, towards myself, but also towards other people. And when you can see that, it's really truly an invitation to start looking at where am I judging and how am I judging and at what extreme am I judging, right? I think the biggest thing for me too, and I would say one of the first steps is to pause and not make it wrong.
Mm.
Let's not make anything wrong here. Let's not make somebody else wrong. Let's not make ourselves wrong. It just is right now. This is how you're feeling. This is what's happening. And now, like you said, can you course correct to compassion? Can you find the beauty, the acceptance, the love in whatever the situation is? And you were talking earlier about, thank you for sharing that story, by the way. I think
Mm.
it is such a powerful story because you looked amazing in that dress. And to even think about, like, if I'm looking out at a picture, because I wasn't there, but I saw a picture of you in that dress and you were just so radiating and so stunning. And for me to even be looking out and see, I would have never even thought that something like this would have happened in the change room for you because you own that dress. You own the F out of that dress. And but it comes back to that you were saying how when we focus on the stomach, we focus on the bigger boobs, we focus on the rolls, we're shrinking, we're shrinking, we're shrinking. And that shrinking is the energy that we're projecting. And so that's what people are getting. They're not looking at you, they're seeing the energy that you're projecting. And so if you can just fully find this compassion, this acceptance for yourself, the way you're going to feel in any judgment, in any situation, it doesn't just have to be with your body, it could be in any other situation, is can you fully be here and know that this is who you are in this moment? I am alive. How can
Mm.
I find the aliveness in this moment, in this compassion? And I think the three B's that you shared are really a beautiful way to indicate where those might be showing up in our lives.
Hmm. So many of us have the not enough story,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
we can quiet these voices. And, I think compassion is getting a lot of uptake. And yet I think people think it's like um, a cop out, if you would.
Mm-hmm.
And
Good.
it's not, it's the way. Love
Mm-hmm.
is the way. Love is the
Yeah.
miracle cure. And the more we shrink ourselves, like you said, you're feeling this small energy, but the more we shrink ourselves, especially in the second half of life, we're not meant to
Mm.
shrink. We're meant to shine like children of God.
Yeah.
And what I see, and we see it, people shrink themselves with try to do more exercise, less food, and then we're not fully alive, or we can't even tap into compassion if we are pushing, we're exhausted because we're moving so much, we're undernourished, so our brains cannot,
Mm-hmm.
even
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge compassion. And oh, now I've got to go into, or sorry, judgment and into compassion because I'm so undernourished, exhausted, caught in the society expectation.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and we see it.
I.
We see it in our society. Um, I think more than ever again, how women are shrinking themselves and the message that
Mm-hmm.
we're portraying out there. And unless we address this inner judgment critic noise, there is nothing outside of you, nothing. No amount of weight loss, that will ever lead you back home to compassion.
Hmm.
Like at some point, it's a skill, right? And compassion is like, what would you say to your best friend? You would never say to your best friend, your body's not enough. Go lose some weight. But we say it to ourselves.
Hmm.
And so that's the antidote with compassion is what would you say to your best friend? Can you say that to yourself? What would, a stranger probably say to you? Hey, those pants fit you in all the right places.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm passionate
I,
about this topic.
of course, this is a lot of the work that you do. I find too, it's also a realization that this is the only body that you're going to have in this lifetime.
Yes.
How about we start taking care of it instead of making it wrong, instead of criticizing it, instead of making us feel so small, because we do that. We do that to ourselves. This is the only body you will have in this lifetime. When you talk about, is this how you talk to your best friend? This is your best friend. This is the only thing that sticks with you from the beginning to the end. Only thing.
Mm,
And so, can we start treating it like it's gold?
mm,
Because it is. And can we start treating it like you are the love of your life, right? Because you are. This and this body is what is helping you be here in this world.
mm,
Love this vehicle, love this beautiful vessel, and finding the compassion. It's interesting too because I sat in a meeting yesterday and I saw myself go into protection mode. And I'm working a lot on my protection parts and really trying to soften them and I saw myself go into protection mode. And I was up in the middle of the night thinking about this because it really bothered me. And I love myself. And
mm,
it's just so funny because I was almost making myself wrong and I was judging myself. And I just laid there and I was like, but I know why you were protecting yourself. I see why
mm,
you were protecting yourself. I forgive you, Rach. I forgive
mm,
you. And I love the fact that you're laying here thinking about this right now because this isn't the person that you want to be, that you are. It was just a protection coming out. And so it's just another example of a beautiful way to really come back to yourself and say, you know what? I can see why. I can see why you're doing the things that you're doing. And then bringing it back to the heart and saying, okay, I see it. I don't want to do that. So let me work on that. Let me find the compassion I have for myself, the acceptance that I have for myself, and the love.
mm,
And I find that when we're in this energy and we can do this for ourselves, it's easier to do it for other people, right? Because we have a tendency to easily judge our neighbors, to
mhm,
easily judge the people that are around us. But every judgment out is a judgment in. And so
mhm,
every judgment is a self judgment. It always comes back to you. And so whatever you're judging them for, you're judging yourself for. And so
mhm.
if you can find the compassion, the love, the acceptance that you have for other people, for yourself, it just changes your whole dynamic in the world.
Yeah. I said the other day, I was walking with my aunt. I'm like, God doesn't make junk. She goes, "You're right." I go, "No, every being, you know,
Mhm.
is a child of God and God makes only good. Can we choose to see that the way, he sees us? If
Mhm.
you want a spiritual perspective, right? Or the course's perspective, like we are all children of God. And so sometimes that really reels me in is
Mhm.
is to put that higher perspective on, right? And that I'm
Yeah.
judging his creation. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's powerful.
Yeah. So good. Shall
Hmm.
we end with loving kindness meditation as a little
Yes.
tool? This is a tool that we can use when we're not in the heat of criticism, inner critic, but that can really allow us to feel what compassion feels like, that feeling in the heart center, and then we might be able to access it when we get caught in judgment
Hmm.
because we're human. And so I'll get everybody to settle back in or pause wherever you've landed today. And you can either soften your gaze or close your eyes once again. And we refer to this as loving kindness meditation, known as metta meditation. And so taking a nice big breath in and big exhale to land here, sigh. And then in your mind's eye, can you imagine someone that loves you dearly standing in front of you, pouring their love into your eyes? And this person who loves you dearly wants to be healthy, happy, and free. And so, in your mind's eye, you can say this silently or out loud. Wish this person loving kindness, the same loving kindness that they give you. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be free of all suffering. And may you live with eternal ease and grace. And I want you to bring to mind now someone that's a bit more neutral in your life. Maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's a coworker. And just like you, this person wishes for loving kindness, compassion, acceptance. So may you hold this person in your mind's eye and send them these well wishes. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be free of all suffering. And may you live with eternal ease and grace. And then today, I want you to bring yourself to mind. Maybe put your hand on your heart. And just like these other people, you deserve the same loving kindness and compassion. And so we say to ourselves, may I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free of all suffering. And may I live with eternal ease and grace. Notice how that feels in your heart. Take a nice deep breath in and really anchor into this, knowing that this is always available to us. Take your time. Come on back.
Beautiful. Thank you, Tina. We're going to I'm going to put a link in the show notes for Tina has this meditation in a longer format on her
Yes.
YouTube channel. So I'll put that in the show notes. But thank you
I
for
think,
being
can we
here.
add what? Sorry.
Yeah.
Can we add, no, sorry. Can we add one more thing in the show notes?
Absolutely.
You said it. I am the love of my life.
Oh, I am the love of my
It's
life.
this, it's there's a song by Jennifer Lopez. And I think if you've seen the movie with this song, a lot of times we think of others, but she's actually talking about herself. And if you can sit there and think of yourself, that song has been so powerful for Rachel and I and for a lot of our clients.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'm going to add that to the show notes, a link to that. So good.
So good.
Thank you for being here with us. I want to leave you with one thing when it comes to judgment. I was sitting reflecting on this over the last couple of days, and just this just came to me. So I wrote it down and I just wanted to read it to you. If every judgment is an invitation to greater compassion, what is life trying to teach you through the judgments you hold today?
Mm.
And so write that down and let that percolate in your mind to see, where am I judging? And can I let that be an invitation to open up to compassion, to open up to healing, to transformation? Judgment is such a powerful, I'm going to say, tool to separate us from ourselves, from other people, from love. And so if we can bring compassion back in, seeing beyond the fear and just returning to our shared humanity, the world would change.
Mm. And
So
so
we're
it is.
And so it is. And so we're sending you all so much love. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
If this episode resonated, it would mean so much if you left a 5-star review or shared the podcast with a friend.
We read every single review and truly love hearing what these conversations bring up for you.
We are so blessed that you are here and sending much love.